Welcome to another one of our build videos right here on FE Builds. We're working on the Cross RC EmoXX2 and we'll be doing a motor upgrade today. And we'll see, it's pretty much an experiment. We're going to be putting a Fusion 8, which is a 1/8 scale motor, into a 1/5 scale. And the big concern around this is the weight of the entire rig. So will the Fusion 8 be able to keep up? And I'm going to test this out in high gear, in low gear, test the FOC, see if it can climb in high gear, see the results that come about, and take it from there. So this motor is quite big, but the biggest flaw it has is it's a brushless motor, but it's not censored. It doesn't have drag brake, or at least I haven't played around with it. This is a Fusion that I had lying around. I used it once, and that project that it was in was a fail. So I decided to repurpose this motor instead of buying a new one. And it's a Fusion 8, 2300 kV. It's a lot smaller than the one that's already in there. But with this particular rig, I'm looking to get that slow, effective, realistic trail kind of feel. I don't want to make this car like a basher that goes really fast over bumps and obstacles, but something that can go downhill slowly and hold its position and also climb. And you'll see even towards the end of this video the results of this project. I know there are some people who've done this. I know of Ricky's Garage. Shout out to you if you watch this video. I know he did this, but I wasn't too sure how the car would perform in high gear. So we're doing this experiment and we're going to test. I'm going to take it through a 2-kilometer course, and that's going to be a separate video with RC footage, but that's something for you to watch. So let us start stripping this motor down and let's see what we can do. So the first step is just take this front cover off, and there's a screw on the side. You take that off so you can access the grub screw, and then you can access the 2 screws that hold that plate to this whole assembly and the motor. Okay, so as you can see, this is a 17-tooth pinion. I just want to measure the amount of... As a rule of thumb, with my experience with RCs over the last few years, I always measure and check the OEM backlash, how they set it, and I try to replicate that as best as I can. There are some times when I find an OEM vehicle with the backlash a bit too loose or a bit too tight, and I set it perfect. But this one here, as you can see, that movement is just perfect, and it's allowing the pinion to turn on the spur gear without stripping either or. Another thing I'm looking at is how deep that shaft goes into the pinion, and that's the OEM setup. As the motor's oriented in this way, goes to C, the yellow wire to B, and the blue one to A, just in case I ever need to put this back, or in case you're watching this and you want to find out what the OEM orientation was. Perhaps you did a motor change and you want to put it back to normal. There you go. You can most probably find this online, but just in case you want to see what they did as they put it together. Okay, so now you can really see the size difference of the motor when they put side by side. You need this red piece. That's a bracket that allows it to be fitted in there. Adapter plate. And that's an adapter plate that allows the motor to be fitted in there. I believe the Fusion 8 would fit. We're going to try it out and we're going to see what happens. As you can see, so it's perfectly centered on those 2 holes, and I assume it'll be the same. I assume we're using one of these, either this way and this way, or this way and this way, the bigger holes. Okay, so one nice thing over here is the ESC is actually held down with Velcro, and you don't have to open the receiver box. If you unwind that cable management sleeve, you would actually find that the ESC goes to a channel right under that sleeve. and you can plug it in or disconnect it right over there. As you can see, I'm pulling on the wire, and there is the channel 2 that it plugs into. Just a quick heads up over here, you're going to need that adapter plate for the Fusion 8, and be very careful when you're taking off the screws. Sometimes they put a lot of Loctite, like in this case, and all I did was just heat up the screws and be patient with it, and they came loose. If you just force it, chances are you're going to strip the screws and you have a bigger headache to get the whole thing out. They put a lot of red Loctite in there. So got that loose, and now we're going to assemble it on the Fusion 8. Okay, so the Fusion 8 is in. As you can see, we've meshed it very similar to how it was. The only thing I did over here is I pushed the pinion back 0.5 millimeter, but I meshed it exactly the same as the OEM mesh that was in there. I moved it back because the shaft on the Fusion 8 isn't as long as the shaft on the motor that comes with this. So there was space on the spur gear and the pinion to be able to do this, so it fitted perfectly. Think of it like putting a 2-liter turbo, single turbo, in a body for a V6. But it's done. We fitted the Fusion 8, and I chose to rather route the power cables around this way to avoid, it's still on my headlamp, to avoid any chafing on the wires. You know, if we put it up here, it's quite sharp, and when you're driving, it might chafe and then short circuit. Okay, so here's the settings for the Fusion 8. You can find this in the manual, or you can search it online. These are the settings that I put in my setup. For number one, that's RPM matching. Number 2, 1. I'm not going to use 2S batteries because it won't work with these 7.4 volt servos, but I'm going to use 3S and 4S. These are the rest of the numbers, as you can see. And if you want to follow my settings, then just copy that. So the last setting we need to do is just calibrate the transmitter. So I'm going to press and hold the power buttons. So you just hold this power button down until it starts flashing. There we go. So the first thing we want to do is have the remote in neutral. As you can see, when you press it. Second thing we want to do is pull the remote back full accelerator, and press it, and full reverse, and press it the third time. Okay, now we're all set. The Fusion 8 is built for a 1/8 scale and rigs that size. This is a 1/5 scale, so we're pushing it a bit, so I was very worried about the temperature, especially in gear 2, that this Fusion 8 would hit. And yes, I know the motor has a thermal shutdown, but having the temperatures go too high is not so good for the magnets in the long run. So I installed these fans and I did tests, and I found that even in gear 2, it was working well. It wasn't overheating, so I ended up taking these fans off. And with the fans off, it was just getting to sort of like a warm to the touch feel after all that driving and pushing it as hard as it can. So I'm quite happy with the Fusion Pro for what I'm doing with this car, and I think it's good. I ended up taking off these fans because it was sounding like a vacuum cleaner, and I've got some footage of that, but I'll release that in a separate video, apart from the next video I'll release. Okay, so even after running it for so long up those hills at that voltage and in second gear under that load, it's still cold. 1000, 2, 1000, 3, 1000, 4, 1000, 5, 1000. It's so cold I can go forever. So yeah, that's not hot at all. Fan did its job, but I think the battery is flat because I used that small battery. Okay, so after all that running, the motor is warm to the touch. 1000, 2, 1000, 3, 1000, 4, 1000, 5, 1000, 6, 1000. It's not hot at all. So I don't think it's necessary. And that was like a quick, high-paced 2 kilometers. So, and that most of it was in gear 2. I think only the first climb was in gear 1. So that's quite good. Okay, so round about here we're going to turn down. Hopefully we don't flip the car. And we're going to try and come up. As you can see, that's what I was afraid of. It doesn't have drag brake. That's in low range and it's struggling. Let's switch on some lights. No lockers on until the car absolutely needs it. That's the rule that I use even with the one-to-ones. Okay, so far so good. It's climbing. Okay, so we're gonna try the steep hill out now. Just gonna stand here so it doesn't roll into the air if it does fall. So you'll notice in the videos that come next, there's FOC and a drag brake. With this current setup or the OEM setup, you always have to hold the throttle to keep the car from rolling away or running away. So here with the OEM setup, I'm trying to go as slow as I can and see the slowest we can move up that hill. And you'll notice towards the end of this clip, it actually runs away, it goes down. It just couldn't do it, and that's in gear 1. In this clip, I'm not reversing. You'll see it just runs away and it goes all the way down. And I try to stop it and then it goes some more. Third attempt, hopefully we can be lucky. Let's see what happens. OEM setup. Okay, so it's the same place, just at night. I had to do it at nighttime. I ran out of daylight, but same place, and I just went straight to the steepest hill. This is with the Fusion 8. Okay, this water here is running today. It's not stagnant anymore. It's rained nicely. You can see the difference between the stock motor and the Fusion. You can literally crawl this section down, straight down. Other cars I've tried out over here usually slide off. Holds perfectly on the hill. I'm just dominating this hill descent. Just doing it super slow, and we're also going to climb super slow. This is in low range, and we're going to cross right here. Currently the diffs are open, as you can see. When they're illuminated, it's open. Okay, let's turn on the lights now that it's not facing the camera. Okay, as you can see, diffs are still open. There's only a bit of slippage on one of the tires. Just lost some traction. Let's see if we'll have that same thing here. Nope. Open diffs all the way. Slow we can climb this. This is about a 25-degree hill. With the OEM motor, low range, it couldn't climb this with 3S power. Look how we're crawling it, and we're just gonna let go of the throttle, sit there. Drag brake seems to be working quite well, holding it up. By the way, I tried the drag brake also on the step, and it held the full weight of this car. There's some slack in the gears, so when I let off the throttle and it goes back slightly, that's not the motor losing its place. So I climbed this slowly, went down slowly, did a test that's going to feature in another video of RC footage, and I am super impressed with the Fusion 8. It's working in this 1/5 scale with the same pinion, same gearing, and without having to install a lot of fans. So that's a wrap for this video. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you haven't subscribed, please do us a solid and subscribe. But enjoy the rest of your day or night, whatever time you're watching this. Cheers. Okay, so after that slow and controlled movement that really needed FOC, I can hold the motor 1000, 2, 1003, 1004, 1005, 1000. I can count forever. It's just warm to the touch.